Well, just now we heard a wonderful discussion about geopolitics. And in the last week, I'm sorry, I forget to show my greatness to the PBA network. I'm sorry for that. I've been in this country for a week. During the week, and seemed to me, everyone talked to me about AI. From my understanding, and now we are in a digital age. This age is very different from what we're familiar with the Cold War and the post-Cold War. And so I fully agree with John to divide it, the global order from 1945 to now in three periods. Cold War period, and the post-Cold War, and the current situation. So I will give the name for this three periods. Like the ideological competition order, globalization order, and counter-globalization order. And now we find that, and this order will be without the leadership. Neither China nor the US can provide the leadership for the world. And neither China and the US can provide joint leadership for the world to shape the global order. Well, why this order is so different from before? If we look at today's situation, many people think the similarity between today's power structure and the Cold War, and the bipolarity between the US and the Soviet Union. Because now we are in the digital age. During the Cold War and the post-Cold War, the major powers compete where? In natural space, geospace. And nowadays, human beings create a new space, cyberspace. This space is so huge, it's larger than the space. And in this space, this space do not only closely related to the wealth, also relate to the what? To the security. Nowadays, the major powers like China and US, their GDP and the main resources or the main wealth generated from where? From a digital economy. The digital economy heavily rely on or carried out, implemented in the cyberspace, not the natural space. I do not mean these two spaces separated. They're connected together, but then you will find that human beings and generate more and more wealth from the cyberspace, and their security, I mean national security, individual security, all dominated gradually by the technology in cyberspace. So now if you compare the China-US capability, I don't think that people will compare our military capability. But that's a big gap of military power between China and the US. China do not have that much nuclear weapons like the Soviet Union during the Cold War. So militarily, there's a big gap. Why the Trump regard China as a peer competitor? My understanding is a technology. And China is a competitor in terms of AI, in digital innovation. So now because this is a new situation, because the major powers compete more and more in cyberspace, not only in geospace. Certainly there's a competition in geospace, but the competition in cyberspace becomes more and more important than the competition in the geospace. And also, what I mean, the competition in the cyberspace will dominate the world. It will define the relationship of the major powers. And from my understanding, your national leader visited Washington when Biden is in power. And you signed a joint statement. Among the 20 protocols, more than 15 of them, talking about technological relationship between India and United States. And one sentence is so clear, define your relationship with the US. That means the strategic relationship between India and the US is defined by the technology relations. That's very clear. If US do not give you money, give you everything, but no technology, then That's not a partner. So here, I want to say, now in the future, we are going to see a global order, and both in cyberspace and geospace, actually, the geospace will become more important than natural space. Second one. Okay, currently, there's two clusters, shows that most of the American AI companies, they do business among themselves. Most of the Chinese AI companies, they do business among themselves. What do I mean? UN General Secretary Guterres has predicted the world, the digital world will divided into two markets, two sets of technology standards. This is what we are going to see. The major competition between China and the US is no longer ideological expansion. It's not a geopolitical competition. Mainly it's a technological competition. The competition of what? Technological innovation, to see who can invent new technology, digital technology, more advanced AI than the other side. So anyone will dominate the cyberspace will win this competition. In the future, it's not the country dominate the geospace can dominate the world. So last slide. Oh, I'm sorry. The last slide is that because of the AI, so influential, it changed everything, changed our life. It will come what? It come to the it's going to shape the global order. It's in what way? Not in positive way, but in negative way. AI will make humans' productivity increase dramatically, and then make the global overproductivity worse and worse. Well, one case. Nowadays, a human being can produce 80 billion kilograms of milk every day. If any of us do not drink 1 kilogram of milk, you have responsibility for the global overproductivity. Unfortunately, human being can no longer consume what? Consume what we produced. Not only material things. Human being can no longer consume the service, law, entertainment, and all of these service is already oversupplied. So then will lead to what? Unemployment. AI take a lot of job away. AI produce many things, and you go to the future factory, there's only guards at the gate. And then material in, products out, and then go leave the factory, go to the market. No people working in the factory. This is called the dark factory. Then what happened? The unemployment will become a serious problem for all the government. In what way? Because when people have money, your government can give them a salary, tell people, okay, I give you money, stay at home. You do not need to work. Then there's a social instability because people have to do something. So if you do want to have more people come to the street to hold demonstration against the government must find jobs. The jobs have nothing to do with the productions. They just use a job to keep their time, occupy their times. And then for the sake of the regime security, what will happen? Most of government will adopt protectionism. They will try to adopt this protectionist policy, protect their market, problem domestic market, let people consume their own products first. So the conflicts between countries will getting worse and worse. So then we come to this problem. This is a very serious issue. It's become so popular, very few people challenge this idea, economic security. I ask a question. Do any of us here, you have a clear definition for the term, economic security? My understanding, by now, there's no definition for what is economic security. But this phrase used by all governments as legitimacy or as the base to develop their national strategy. both domestic and foreign policies. So what does it mean? Now policymakers all the policymakers are facing this problem. They are going to open the country to resume globalization, or they adopt protectionism, that's decoupling, de-risking policies, close the country. I don't know. I know there's only two approaches for the policymakers. The future for the world decided by policymakers. They want to open their country to resume the globalization, or they want to close their country, make the world more segmented. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Professor, we have, I think, 15 minutes to discuss this, but which is normally enough, but given that you've just told us effectively that the world is going to come to an end, it's probably not enough. But still, I'll try what you said.
Sure.
The first hypothesis I picked up was that we shouldn't look at war in terms of weaponry and armies, because that's not how war will be fought in the future. It'll be fought with technology. A guy at a computer screen may be deadlier than a guy in a tank. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. Yes. You said, therefore, if we were going to have technological wars, it's control of technology that will be the real strength of any country. So far, so good?
Yeah.
You continued to say that AI will change everything.
Yeah.
Yeah? It'll change it to the extent, perhaps, that people will not have jobs, they may not have food because machines will be doing that work, and governments will have to cope with that. So far, so good? Mm-hmm. Yes? You then went on to say that in such a situation, how will governments respond? Will they respond with protectionism? Yeah. Will they try and hold on to what they have and say, we don't want anything to go out? Will they try and keep other technologies out? Or will they find a way of coping? That's not inaccurate what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. So now let's go back to the beginning. When do you think this AI revolution and warfare will actually be visible? I know it's begun already, but when, how long do we have to wait for it to really happen?
Okay. Well, in 2019, I published an article under the title, The China-US Competition in the Early Stage of Digital Age. So I think this AI issue becomes really intensive, and in last, mainly through the COVID-19 or after COVID-19. Okay. Now, after COVID-19, and then people find that AI do not only a special instrument can improve our human capability and in terms of production, but then he may have some kind of capability go beyond the human control. Now, from my understanding, there's a lot of discussion. Even yesterday, I read the Indian newspaper. Some schools, they forbidden kids to use a cell phone, smartphone in the school. Yep. So they already find that the AI do not only disturb the market, it disturbs the human's mentality, morality, and the culture. So from my understanding, now we moved into the world, this new order, a lot of things so new that we not experienced. We have to understand it, what it is, and then we know how to handle it. For instance, let alone there's a competition between major powers about AI innovation. But you see the Trump administration actually start from the Biden. They adopted the small yada and high funds to contain China's technology. From my understanding, the U.S., I agree with John, the U.S. will continue the containment policy against China, but my understanding mainly is not a geopolitical contain. Technology contain China's technological progress. They worry about the China will catch up with the U.S. in terms of technology, not as of land or the other military capability. So what does it mean? It means that we are going to face a new life, new relations. You find that the AI do not have a strong impact on the relationship between countries, between parents and children. Yeah. So what do I mean? This time, if we want to understand how new the coming order, not only looking for the power structure, the capability of material things. You have to look at the inside to see the content and how much they impact our morality and the spirit.
So what you're saying, in a sense, is that it's okay to talk about AI in terms of jobs and all of that, but we're forgetting something more fundamental, is that it'll rewire our brains, in a sense, and relationships within individuals, within families, all that will be different from what they are now.
This is very fundamental. Yeah. Now, for the experts and many policymakers, they really worry about that. If AI dominating the world, what's the human being's position? We're a servant of the AI, or AI is a servant of the human being. Recently, Chinese government just issued a law and control all the AI development and AI innovation, and forbidden to produce the AI AI have the consciousness to behave according to his own will. Without human control. This is just like what? Like the once we face the technology of a clone, and the whole world prohibited from clone human being. Now you know what happened. Even there's a competition, a strategic confrontation between China and the US, and China and US already discussed, we need to control the AI from being used for a nuclear weapon system. We cannot let AI make the final decision whether to push the button.
So what you're saying is really science fiction stuff, that the machines take over, they make the decisions, and men have to try to find a way to stop them.
No, when we use AI, it means you improve the automatic level, right?
Yeah.
And human beings do not give any order, and then, you give an order, the AI do all of the other things rest or let.
Yeah.
But now we find, no, you can't do this with a nuclear weapon system.
Yep.
If you give an order, and the AI carry the order, and then finally they push the button, the missile goes out. And so the both sides agree. We need to let a human being control the last few steps to check about the order and to guarantee this human being's decision.
So you need like a rational human being who weighs everything.
Yeah.
Like Donald Trump, perhaps.
Yes, although the human being is very efficient, but efficient is secure.
Yeah.
The AI is efficient, but it's unsecure.
Okay. Now you talked about America and China having this new competition in technology. You're aware of the American caricature that they're miles ahead and that the Chinese steal their technology, etc. What is the truth?
Well, I think America makes this kind of lie. China steal Americans' technology.
Is it a lie or a kind of lie?
I think it's a lie.
It's a lie. All right, okay.
And if you say the country backward to learn from the advanced country, that's a universal phenomenon.
Yeah.
We have overseas students for every country, everywhere. In China, we have many foreign students. We cannot say all of the foreign students come to China to steal Chinese technology. That's nonsense, right? So my understanding that actually nowadays these make people believe China steal the American technology because there's a gap between these two countries in terms of technology. But in some day, when we have a more advanced technology than the US, and then they won't make that lie because no one believes you can steal from a country with what they don't have. So nowadays, this has already happened in some specific items, specific technology, and like DeepSeek technology. You cannot DeepSeek steal a technology from US. No US company has the DeepSeek technology.
Yeah. So what you're saying really is that the Chinese have not stolen technology. This is a lie. The Chinese have developed very good technology of their own.
I don't mean that China developed most advanced technology in the world, because we have to say American still is much more advanced than the US.
So that's my question. At the moment, they're still more advanced than you. Are they not? The Americans?
compared with the U.S. and China still gap, but China is really advanced
So
than
here's
the
my
rest
question.
of the world.
At some stage, you're going to fill that gap.
Special-
How long before China overtakes the US?
I'm not technician. I'm
Oh, you can't suddenly play that
I
card
cannot
having
make that
talked about
prediction.
technology.
But one thing I can guarantee: in next 10 years, the technology gap will be narrowed rather than enlarged. That's 100% sure.
So again, to go back to something you said earlier, you're saying that because technology is the weaponry of the future, not arms, etc., and China and America, at least when it comes to technology, will be the two superpowers. The battles of the world, which hopefully will never be fought, but should they be fought, would be between China and America, and they'd be fought on technology.
Okay, I think there's a lot of discussion about the phrase G2 used by Trump. So actually, people at the beginning, people thought that G2 means joint leadership. And later on, people realized, no, that's impossible. China and the US cannot provide joint leadership. G2 means bipolarity, means the competition between the two superpowers. So my understanding, China and the US may cooperate on these general principles, preventing the danger or threat to a whole human being in AI innovation. But also, they can cooperate on the daily uses technology.
Okay. Yeah.
But in the advanced technology, there's only competition.
Okay, so if you're saying China and America will be the two superpowers, the gap will narrow, that technology will be almost on par, which is what you're suggesting. What happens then to the current issues between America and Russia, things like tariffs, for instance? How important do they become?
The question?
The question is that when we talk about America and China now, we talk about the tariff wars, we talk about America's attempts to influence and restrict China in the global stage.
I got it.
And of course, we talk about Taiwan.
Yeah.
So I'm asking you, will technology make a difference to all that?
Okay. First, that's my view. I cannot represent anyone, and certainly cannot represent my government. And first, I would say, because these two countries have such a kind of advanced AI technology, I think the mutual deterrence has already established. And this kind of technology mutual deterrence is no less than the mutual deterrence between the nuclear powers, the nuclear mutual deterrence. So my understanding, the mutual nuclear deterrence plus AI mutual deterrence together can prevent the direct war between China and the US. And even it can prevent a proxy war between China and the US. You see, there's a proxy war in the Ukraine between US and Russia. But in the last, since the end of the World War II, 1991, China have not involved any war, even a proxy war. So personally, I have confidence that this situation can maintain for 10 years. Okay. Second, also related to your question.
Yeah.
And the question is that nowadays I find a lot of people talking about Trump is going to wither China. Well, I ask you, where do you get the information? From White House, from Trump? Do any of you get the information from Chinese side? Chinese foreign spokesman gave the response to that question, whether Trump will visit China by the end of the March. And the foreign spokesman told the journalist, I have no information for that. So my interpretation is that I'm not so sure whether China have sent out a formal invitation by this moment.
Okay.
So I mean that both sides, there's a lot of suspicions on each other, rather than there are strong will to cooperate with each other. But then you find that, and just the week before I came here, Chinese foreign minister visited your country, meet with the foreign secretary.
Yep.
And then, according to my information, unreliable information, that China-Indian relationship will be influenced dramatically in this year, 2026. By the end of this year, you will see our bilateral relationship much better than last year. The reason.
You'll give us technology, and
No, not to give you technology.
No.
I mean,
And you'll keep the land you've
no,
already
I
taken.
mean that the leaders of two sides
Yeah.
already make a determination to improve the relationship.
Okay.
By now, I'm not so sure whether China and the U.S. leaders at leadership level, they make a decision to develop cooperation as the major part of the relationship or competition as the main core of the relationship.
Our time ended a few minutes ago, but I'm going to keep going with a final question. We're now talking about China and India. Are you optimistic?
Well, that depends on what kind of expectation you have. If you expect China and India become allies like the U.S., no, it's difficult to U.S. have any good allies, no more. Like the French and the Germany, I don't think we can have that kind of relationship within 10 years. That's difficult.
No,
but from my understanding, we can have a normal relationship. We can both sides do not regard the other side as a rivalry, competitor, and we also regard the other side as a partner, at least in economic sector.
And you'll continue arming Pakistan, of course.
Well, I don't think China will make that. Just like Indian, you make a so-called what do you call it?
A bilateral arrangement.
Yeah, with all countries.
Okay.
So I think China can now say we are improve relationship with India, so at the cost to undermine relationship with other countries. That's not the principle.
Okay.
We want to improve relationship with everyone as much as possible.
So cautious optimism? You have cautious optimism about India, China?
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah. You know, make any prediction, you must have a time span. I cannot predict what will happen in 100 years, 50 years, and even 20 years. I mean, in next 10 years, or make it even specified. As long as the two leaders of our countries stay in power, our relationship will move in the positive direction.
All right. That's a sort of vaguely optimistic note to end this on. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.